Hello, my name is Lily Archive, and I talk about fundies and sometimes other stuff. Today, I wanted to talk about fundie baby names, specifically predictions for some of the fundies that are pregnant right now. I'm really fascinated by naming traditions, naming trends, what people choose to name their babies, and I'm particularly interested in these predictions because these people have so many kids that it can be at times easier to predict what they're going to name their kids because there's so many examples previously of their other children. Now, there's only two of our mainstays from the Duggar and Bates family that are pregnant right now. Kelly Jo and Gil Bates' fifth child, Nathan, and his wife Esther are expecting their second baby. They have an older daughter and they're expecting a boy in October of this year. Jim, Bob, and Michelle's 10th child, Jed, and his wife Katey are having their third and fourth children, twin girls, who are due in January of 2025. So a little background about Nathan and Esther, who we'll start out with. They got together in 2020. They got married in the fall of 2021, and they welcomed their first child in the fall of 2022. Esther's originally from the Pennsylvania area. She has quite a few siblings, over 10, I believe, actually, and she's pretty much in the middle, birth order-wise. A few of her siblings are Mennonites, actually. And despite the fact that she's from Pennsylvania, they give very Southern couple vibes. They currently reside in Northwest Arkansas. They live in an RV. Nathan is a pilot and also helps John Duggar run Medicorp's Ministries. Now, Nathan always gave me the vibe that, whereas Lawson, he likes the outdoors, but he is more creative. Nathan was more of an outdoorsy guy, so it's Trace. So that kind of gives you the vibe. Also kind of like the idea around them, while not really a lot is known about Esther because the show kind of stopped when they were getting married, and they don't have a vlog of their own. And she really doesn't post much on Instagram. She seems more private, and it really just seems like he's punching up and he really knows it. And so he seems to treat her pretty well. But yeah, those are kind of the vibes in the background on Nathan and Esther. So this one's kind of harder because they currently only have one child and her entire name is a family name. So her name is Kenna Joy. She's almost 2 years old. So her name comes from Nathan's name, which is, his first name is actually Kenneth. So they took Ken, put an A on it, got Kenna, and then Joy is actually Esther's middle name. So really we don't have a ton to go on here. So their next baby is going to be a boy due in October. Now, while Kenna is a family name, technically, I think it gives 2020's like Southern baby vibes. And although, siblings can have very different tastes, a lot of her siblings have babies with that Southern vibe, in my opinion. I could see them also going in a more traditional route, just based on their personalities. I do think that a family name will be more likely for the little boy's middle name. So with both of those themes in mind, here's some names that I thought that they might like, just kind of based on their vibe. So traditional, and when I say traditional, I do think that they would go for a more biblical theme for their boys, as well as traditional. So I picked some out: Caleb, Titus, which I know is not exactly traditional, but it is biblical, Noah, Timothy, and Ezra. So for 2020's Southern, I don't think that they go with anything too crazy, but Colton, Hudson, Hunter, Tucker, or Parker. So I really do think that they'll use like a family name as a middle name. Now they've already used Kenneth, technically with Kenna, so I could really see them using Gilvin, which is Nathan's dad, obviously, Nathaniel, which is Nathan's middle name, technically, or George, which is Esther's father's name. So with Nathan and Esther predictions out of the way, let's move on to Jed and Katey. So Jed and Katey, I'm honestly not sure when exactly they got together. I know that they said that they kind of were talking for 2 years. I don't know when they actually got together. We do know that they got engaged on Valentine's Day of 2021 and were married around Easter or on Easter Day. I honestly can't remember. I think it was like the day before Easter in April of 2021. They had their first child pretty quickly after in May of 2022, and then they had their second child not exactly a year later, but about a year later in May of 2023. Jed was in politics. He now, I think, just probably sells used cars. Don't really know what he does. They vlog occasionally. A lot of people say that Jed kind of gives them like Josh vibes. I think that's kind of a lot, but I can see like maybe with a little bit more of arrogance, and I think that does come from when Jill was promoting her book, and he left some comments kind of being like defending his family. He is a lot more well-spoken like Josh is, unlike some of the other boys. Katey seems nice. She hangs out a lot with Joy and Abby and like Esther Bates, who we just mentioned. But yeah, so that's kind of the vibes for Jed and Katey here. Their first child's name is Truett Oliver. I was really shocked by this name actually because, and this could be inaccurate information, but somebody on Instagram told me that Jed had said on Counting On that he really liked the name Solomon. So I was really expecting like, not necessarily like deep cut biblical names, but like ones that you don't really hear as much, like that, like Samson, Solomon, that kind of thing. But he chose Truett, which is like an older name, not super popular, but it has shot up a lot in popularity in recent years. A lot more people are using this name. And then Oliver, it was number 3 the year that Truett was born, and it's still number 3 last year. And then for their second child, they named her Nora Kate. Nora Kate is something else that I was like completely shocked by, because I thought that they were kind of going for like older names, which Nora I guess is an older name, but older name that's like, you know, kind of trendy but not like too popular, and then like a really popular middle name. But they chose Nora, which was in the top 30s. It was number 28 the year that Nora was born, and it was number 25 last year, which is the last year that we have data for. And now Kate is obviously a family name from her mother, Caitlin, Corin, so Katie, Kate, whatever. So a trend here I'm seeing is they definitely tend to like, at least some of the time, more popular names. So let's jump into like kind of what I'm thinking for the twins. So they are having the first Grand Duggar twins, which Jed is also a twin, but they're doing January, February. I actually do think that they're doing January. I could be wrong. So the theme I'm thinking that they're going for, especially with their girls, is kind of cutesy and more popular. I'm thinking, since they are twins, names will likely share a first letter, kind of like Jed and Jer, or possibly go together in some way. Like they'll have they kind of like sound like they go together. And for the middle name, I do think that they're gonna have like very basic white girl middle names, honestly. And I could also see them like sharing a middle name, because as you know, Jed and his twin Jeremiah both share the middle name Robert. So I think this is the top 30 for last year. So honestly, I just like went through, took screenshots, and then I put little pink marks by the ones I think that they'll use. So I could see Olivia. I honestly could really see Olivia. I think that will probably likely be one of their names. Emma, Charlotte, Amelia, Sophia, Mia, Isabella. I don't necessarily know if they'd use Isabella because Josiah's daughter's name is Bella, but they do have like a Evelyn, Ivy, Evangeline, like, and then obviously the Bates have like so many like rhyming names. So I honestly don't, if they called her like Izzy or just full on Isabella, I could see them using that. Ava, Evelyn, obviously Joy's daughter is named Evelyn. I don't think that they would, at this point, with how many kids there are, I don't think that there's a point of like reusing the same names, especially with a sibling that they're like very close in age to, like Jedediah and Joy are number 9 and 10, and they're in like the Duggar kids. So I don't see him using Evelyn. Luna, I just like, I don't know, I feel like he'd think that was a dog's name. Harper, I was at first on the fence about this, but I just don't think they'd use it. Sophia, I couldn't see them spelling it like that, but I could see like SOPH. Camilla, I think that's like too exotic for them, honestly. Eleanor, which is like, that's a form of Nora, so they wouldn't use that. Elizabeth, I honestly just like couldn't see them using Elizabeth as a first name. I don't know why. Violet, Scarlet, I don't know why, but I just can't see them using that. Emily, I feel like that's like a too much of like a 90s name for them. Hazel, honestly, actually, now that I think about it, I could see them doing like Violet and Hazel, but it doesn't necessarily in my mind go with Truett and Nora. Okay, so Gianna, again, I think that's too exotic for them. Aurora, Penelope, Aria, Nora. So Nora, which is like their other daughter's name, Chloe. At first I was on the fence about this, but I just don't see it. Ellie, Mila, I think that Mila is also too exotic for them. Avery, Layla. So out of the ones that I marked in pink that I could see them more using, just based on their vibes and like Truett and Nora, Mia and Ava, so those are both like 3-letter names that both end in A. Emma and Ella, obviously both 4 letters, both start with E. Isabella and Amelia, those are both, you know, kind of start with vowels, so I don't know, I just think it would be cute, and I could see them doing that. Lily and Ellie, those kind of sound similar, but like not too similar. And then Amelia and Olivia, that's another one, they both end in A. Do they both have the same amount of letters? Yes, they do. And then they both start with vowels. So I could see all of these from like the top 30 list that kind of like go together in my mind. So now for my basic ass white girl middle names. Grace, I honestly think that at least one of their middle names is going to be Grace. Marie, which is actually my middle name. Rose, Faith, Corin, I could see them using Katie's middle name for one or both of the girls. Hope, and then I put some like kind of like oddball ones that are like very popular white girl middle names, but I just like for some reason don't see them using either like any of these. But I also wouldn't be like too shocked if they did. So I just kind of threw them in there just in case. And those are Elizabeth, Jane, Lynn, and Joy. All right, funny name nerds. Those were my predictions for the babies that are currently being expected for the fall of 2024 and early winter of 2025. I am really looking forward to the next Rodriguez baby because I really enjoy picking those because I feel like they're harder, especially with Nuri's second son, Newman Christian. Newman, I would have never, ever guessed that. I don't know, especially with their little Newman Christian thing. But yeah, I think that if there are some more people who announce they're expecting soon, I'll do another one of these videos, but I really hope you guys like it. And, you know, have a great rest of y'all's week.